Quick shout out to our sponsor, First Northern Bank and Trust. Your community, their commitment. They can help you out with your personal or banking needs. And they've got several locations. You can find out where they're located and how to reach out to them by simply going to 1stnorthernbank.com. We're just a few minutes after the second hour of the show. You know that we always have a great guest on the show in the second hour. Today is no different. We have a gentleman on board that he's got quite the interesting life, hailing from Tennessee, I believe this guy is. He's going to tell us a little bit about himself. We got some music from the guy and find out all about his brand of music. He's been labeled as neo-traditional or honky-tonk or even a little bit on the outlaw side of the sound of Nashville music. We're going to hear a little bit about this guy. Please make welcome to the show, James Carothers. Hey, James, how are you?
Hey, Casey. Good to be here. I'm doing really good. I'm hanging out right here north of Nashville, Tennessee, and beautiful Hendersonville, Tennessee, the home of Johnny Cash. Yep, just between gigs right now. I just got back from North Carolina, and we're going to hit it again downtown Nashville starting Thursday at AJ's Good Time Bar. That's Alan Jackson's Good Time Bar. If anybody happens to be in Nashville on any Thursday or Friday, I'll be playing there.
Awesome. All right. Well, listen, let's back up a little bit and let everybody know exactly who you are and how you got to what you're doing. You've got a bunch of songs out there, some great music, a couple different albums. So you're already kind of a veteran into the industry. But I always like to hear where the roots came from, how you got yourself all started in this. What's your story? I want to hear your story. Tell my listening audience how you got to, doing some performing down there in downtown Nashville.
Well, Casey, for me, it's been kind of a long backwards road. I was born in West Tennessee, and I grew up with a bunch of singers and church singers and stuff, and my dad wrote songs, and he had one that got on the Grand Ole Opry, and I always thought that was really cool. We moved to New Mexico, then I grew the rest of the way up out in New Mexico, and I was, really satisfied with my life out there. But, all of a sudden one day at 33, I found myself in Nashville with a record recorded because I couldn't keep my nose out of the music business. I couldn't really stay away from singing and doing country music. And then, with the huge support of my wife, we relocated back to Nashville and I've been singing in those bars ever since, particularly the George Jones Bar. Nancy Jones hired me to sing there right after I moved here in 2015. Since then, I've gotten to meet a lot of people from all over the world, and the one thing they all have in common is they all find themselves attracted to kind of traditional sounding country music, or real country music, some people call it. And it's in that vein of George Jones and Waylon Jennings and Johnny Cash, Hank Williams, all of that type of stuff. And all these folks I've met have become friends and have been really supportive, and it's enabled me to keep on playing and keep on pursuing music. And we've just had a really good time at it.
Well, it sounds like you've been quite busy over the last couple years, and you've also had the opportunity to do some serious traveling. I'm reading a little bit here about your bio and how you had the opportunity to travel to places like Canada, Japan, Scotland, and Norway. And that, country music is worldwide. How were some of those experiences for you, especially in a country that didn't speak English like Japan?
Yeah, well, it was really awesome. I can't express the shock and how surprised I was to find out that there were people who loved country music all the way in Japan, and not just run of the mill country music. They really liked the old time traditional style, and the same way in Norway and in the UK. Yeah, it's very surprising, but when it comes down to it, everybody's the same type of people. So there's down home people in Japan just like there is in Alabama or Kentucky.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty amazing. And I've had some artists across the board from across the pond, actually, not Japan necessarily, but from Sweden and Norway and Canada. And, it is amazing. They have a little bit of an accent, but I always find it funny. Most of the time they lose that accent when they sing. But, Yeah, I mean, it's pretty amazing how far country music does spread. So that's pretty cool deal there. You've had the opportunity to have a couple notches put on your belt lately for some of your hard work. Tell us a little bit about the nominee and some of these other nods of the hat that you've been getting recognized for your music.
Well, I got a nod of the hat last year as an outlaw singer in the Ameripolitan Awards, and I was nominated, and Cody Jinks won that category, and it was just an honor to be, nominated along with particularly him, because he's done so much for people who follow underground top country music. He's continuing to sell out big places wherever he plays. And so that was incredible. And I got to see Cody Jinks play at the Ryman this past year. When he played the Ryman, it was sold out. And the really cool thing was just the camaraderie between the fans. A lot of people looked alike. A lot of people had beards and tattoos and whatnot. But aside from the rough appearance of everybody, it was one of the coolest, most well-mannered crowds. Now, I was having a good time, but one of the most well-mannered and, just great down-to-earth crowds I've ever seen. So it was, everybody was tickled that Cody Jinks is having that kind of success. So it was an honor to be nominated with him for the Ameripolitans. And then, apart from that, the big one that came was I won the WSM Road Show, and it was a singing contest. And as the winner, I get to sing on the Grand Ole Opry with Alan Jackson. So I was excited about that.
Yeah, I was looking at that too. I mean, that's your debut out there. I mean, the Grand Ole Opry is kind of the crown jewel, right? Were you nervous? How did that all go? I mean, did you get to meet Alan, sit down, have a conversation with him? How did that happen?
No, we haven't done we still haven't done the date on the Opry yet.
Oh, okay.
DVD. It's probably going to be at the beginning of next year, so it'll probably be in 2019.
Okay.
When that happens. But other than that, it was just a singing contest, kind of like a nationwide singing contest. But luckily, it took place in Nashville, and I made it through a round or two of that, and was able to compete in the finals. And the reason I was even able to I already gotten beat in that contest, but they had a wild card where they let one of us who had lost compete in the finals, and it was up to our fans to vote. And thank God, my wife. I've got so many great people, like I said, that I've met across the world. And so they voted, and they allowed me to compete in the finals with the rest of the field that had already won at their divisions. And then I came in, and when I showed up to the contest, there again, I had more of my friends and my fans right there supporting me. They all had my T-shirts on and stuff. And so I got up there and I won, and it was just a life-changing experience. It was really fun.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on those, and wish you the best of luck that you have many more of those little notches on your belt coming to you in the future. Let's talk a little bit about that music then. You're a singer, songwriter, performer. You've had a couple of EPs and singles out there starting out as far as 2014, some great music. We talked about featuring a couple of your songs, and one of them was Back to Hank. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what album that was on, and a little bit about that song itself? Yeah,
that album is called Relapse. Back to Hank is on, and Back to Hank is probably the most significant song that I've done because it's the one that had the most success online. Like for us, it went viral. It got viewed about 4 million times on Facebook, and people continue to watch it. And it just had the message of the song is what makes it resonate. And it says it's just kind of complaining about new country music and how it's not really country. So it says it's a long way. It says it's a long way back to Hank, and and it's all in good. It's all in good fun and everything, and it's a country song, and it's just so fun to get to play that song around the country and see people that know it and they know the words to it. We just all have a good time, stomping our feet, clapping our hands, and singing it. So that's what Back to Hank's all about. It's on my Relapse record from 2000. And what's this year? I don't know what this year is. 2018.
Yeah, that was from 2017.
Maybe. Maybe it was 2016. I can't remember.
Okay. Well, yeah, according to your website, it was 2017. The Relapse album was...
I believe the website. I believe the website over me.
That's amazing. Now, is this is a song, obviously, that you penned. Are you writing all of the music on these albums? Is it all your handiwork?
Most of it is, except for the George Jones tribute album. I didn't write any of that, but most of the other two records are mostly original, and I got a couple of other cuts on them as well.
All right. Okay, that's cool. Do you find there's a side of you that tends to lean more towards the writer side or more to the performer side, or do you find that it's kind of an even keel and you enjoy both equally?
Well, I guess I would be leaning more toward the performer's side at this point, whereas I used to be leaning more toward the writer's side. Now, I just say that because I make my money performing, and I do it a whole lot more than I do writing and creating. But I love writing and creating, and and that's what's tough for me to get back to it sometimes because I'm so busy, singing and playing all the time. Mm-hmm.
Which is not a bad thing necessarily.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's a really good thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's winter time now, so a lot of the fairs and rodeos and festivals died down, and now it's time to get back and try to be, try to get back to the writer's side of it. So I try to be well balanced, but I'd probably say honestly, I'm more in the performance side of things right now.
Awesome. Well, I'll tell you what, if you can hang in there, we're going to take a quick break and play that song Back to Hank. If you can hang in there for just a little bit more, what I'd like to do is then talk a little bit about more of your music and round out maybe some things along the line coming up in the future and connectivity for your friends. Can you hang in there a little bit more, James?
Well, of course I can. You betcha.
All right. That sounds awesome. We're speaking to James Carothers, and if you want to know more about this guy, you can simply find him at jamescarothers.com, and his last name is Carothers, and that's James Carothers. You can check him out. You can see all of what this guy's about his music, and read a little bit more about the guy. But we're going to play one of his tunes, and as he mentioned, this comes off his 2017 album, Relapse. It's a little something called Back to Hank, penned by James himself. If you guys want to just hang in there, we got to take care of some bills. We'll be back in just a moment with more James Carothers and his music in just a moment, right here on Penn's Peak Radio and the Wall to Wall Country Show. And we're back here on the Wall to Wall Country Show with James Carothers. And I have to say, James, boy, that music you have right there, it's definitely Hank. It's definitely, that outlaw, that gritty sound. It reminds me of older music. I loved it. It was great.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. Well, we just always hope that people have as good a time listening to it as we do playing it. We really have fun playing it, and the guys I play with are super cool, and they're a lot of old souls too.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of refreshing to hear something that's not like you're saying. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with these new guys that are coming out with this newer music and all that. It is what it is, but I like it, when somebody can revisit that and bring in new music, but has that great classic country sound. And I think you're hitting it right, the nail right on the head there, James, man. That was awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So, you mentioned about, your award stuff and that the summer season's winding down. You're planning on doing some more writing, but can you tell us a little bit more about some of the upcoming plans for James Carothers and what you got possibly on the docket for the end of the year, the beginning of 2019?
Yeah, we're gonna be back in Nashville full time, probably from about let's see, I've got a show in Cincinnati next week, and then when we get back from there, we're gonna be playing at the bars downtown: George Jones Bar, Dierks Bentley Bar, Alan Jackson Bar, Underground, Nashville Underground. We'll be at all of those spots through the week. So if anybody's coming to Nashville, that's where you'll be able to find us performing. And you can find my schedule on my website, jamescarothers.com, and it's also on my Facebook. So that's it. But in the meantime, in the midst of all of that, we're going to be making a new record as well, and we hope to have that record out by probably mid-February or March or something like that. We'll have it recorded way before then, but it seems like it always takes longer to get it out for where everybody can hear it. But it's going to be more country. It's going to be more country. It might have a little different feel in some of the stuff, but we're trying to keep everything really traditional the best way we know how, and it's easy to do that because that's all we know how to do.
Awesome. All right. Well, yeah. I mean, I can already see you've got quite the schedule booked for most of December and into or most of November and into December. Here, I'm looking at your schedule, and kind of a busy guy going on there, which is always good. Let's talk a little bit more about some of these this other song that we wanted to feature for you, the Honky Tonk Land.
Yeah, Honky Tonk Land is off my first record that's called Honky Tonk Land. I guess you call that the title track in the biz. Anyway, it's kind of a song about playing, about like the journey of playing music, and to be honest with you, I wrote this song before I had experienced it at the level that I have the last few years. The last few years, I've just about lived in bars and at different fairs and festivals and stuff where I'm playing music. And at the time when I wrote this, that's kind of how I'd imagined it. I played out in New Mexico and in my hometowns and in my, at the VFWs and stuff. But, I sung this song and then I lived this song, and now this song, to me, this song is still true. So it's kind of like a prophecy. It's kind of like a prophecy from a couple years ago. And it's on my first record, 2014.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's awesome. We're gonna play that one when we say goodbye here in just a few minutes. And this whole show gets recorded and played back on a Sunday. Just want to remind my listeners that if they're kind of coming in on the middle of this, or if they missed it, they can catch it again Sunday morning. The whole show starts at 8 a.m. Eastern with the interview in the second hour. And to close out the show, to remind people about that, I like to play one more song from the artist, just to kind of give them a little, hey, this is how the guy sounds. If you want to hear the interview, catch it on Sunday. You have offered up another tune, Sinners and Saints. We'll be playing that at the end of the show. You want to give us a quick background of what that song's all about?
Yeah, absolutely. Sinners and Saints is off of my George Jones tribute record, which is called Still Country, Still King, a tribute to George Jones. And we made that record with the help of the number one George Jones fan, Ed Smith, helped us get that record together in the studio, and then with our good friend Mike Rogers, my bass player Jerry Lee. And we put that together as a tribute, and we got a lot of practice singing George Jones songs when we worked for his wife Nancy at the George Jones Museum here in Nashville, Tennessee. So we were constantly playing George Jones music, and we all thought that, we all think that George Jones is the best country singer ever. And that's not an original idea at all. Everybody thinks that. So we're just jumping on the pile of people that say George Jones is the best country singer, and here's the best we can do with it. And so we did He Stopped Loving Her Today and a couple of other hits. So we got Sinners and Saints, one of George's later songs. It was recorded, in the 1990s, and we just thought it was a great song, and so we did it up.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll be listening to that song towards the end of my show here in a couple hours, to remind everybody to listen in on Sunday. James, I know you got to go, but quickly here, connectivity, if you've got some friends getting tuned into you here in Pennsylvania or anywhere around the world for that matter, here on Penn Speak Radio, they want to connect with you, what's some of the best ways that they can reach out to you and give you a hey, how you doing kind of thing? I'm on Facebook, and my internet website has an email connected to it. But yeah, any kind of Facebook message, email, through the website. I'm also on Twitter. I hadn't really gotten as good as some people at Twitter yet, but then and then Instagram also. James Carothers on Instagram, and we try to take pictures when I'm out gigging and some of the different neat stuff we see. So there's a couple of pretty cool moments captured on there. So yeah, look at James Carothers on Instagram, Facebook, and the website, jamescarothers.com. Okay. All right. Good connectivity there, and they can check out the website, Real Country Music from Nashville, honky tonk crooner James Carothers. I like that that you have that there on your website. Some merchandise on there as well, places that you're going to be performing, some other great information. They can check you all out. Anything else you want to throw out there, James? I appreciate your time today.
Yeah, no, just thanks, Casey. Thanks for having an awesome radio outlet for independent artists such as myself that we can reach out to our fans and hopefully make some new ones. So thanks for what you're doing.
All right. Well, we appreciate you taking the time, James. And remember, check this guy out at jamescarothers.com. We're going to play another tune of his, a little something from his first album ever back in 2014. James, if you want to go right ahead and announce it, we'll play that song, and we'll wish you the best of luck in everything. You got anything new going on, or you end up here in the state of Pennsylvania, check us out. We'd love to have you in the studio and find out what's new and what's happening with James Carothers. Just keep us in mind, okay?
Thank you, Casey.
All right. Go ahead and introduce your song there, James.
From the 2014 debut album, Honky Tonk Land. Here's James Carothers, me, Honky Tonk Land.